It all started innocently enough. A friend of mine said he's been trying a new build, and that he was making some serious gains in performance. He said he felt 10 years younger, faster, stronger, more endurance. I was, naively, happy for him. I was intrigued, but not curious enough to try it for myself. I was content with my current setup. Life was good just the way it was. And then, the armorer showed me this. I thought, okay, there must be something to this. He wouldn't be offering it to me if it were harmful, right? If only I knew what was in store for me, I would have turned away and never looked back. I bought the armor. This is what I ended up doing with it. Great set of skills. I was proud of myself and ready to experience all its benefits. In the field, I noticed some significant improvements. I had a wide array of buttons to choose from. One that boosted my attack, one for defense, one that let me go all night long with the queen without losing a beat, one that hastened my recovery so I could get back in the saddle, and one that restored all my health in an instant. They were such small, innocuous-looking things, I could carry dozens of these in my pocket. If I ever did run out, which was not very likely, I could find more just sitting there on the ground, all over the wilderness. They were so plentiful in the wild, I didn't even have to bring them with me. And the best part, you didn't have to chew them or chug them. Just pop them in your mouth and swallow. They went down fast and took effect immediately. The convenience of it all was astounding. I began to have visions of hunting a dozen monsters at once without ever going back to camp and breezing through battles, confident that if I ever got in trouble, all I had to do was pop one of my little colorful friends into my mouth and I'd be back in the thick of it in no time at all. I was on top of the world. I began to start experimenting with other enhancers. I got into the hardcore stuff. I started using bird. At first, the yellow ones. Then, it was any bird I could get my hands on, yellow, green, orange, or red. It didn't matter. I'd fill up my pedal ace and run through everything in sight. I felt unstoppable. Before I knew it, I was licking blast toads and slamming thunder beetles. Oh, don't get me started on the beetles. Hot ones, cold ones, even a sloppy mud-covered beetle. Those were the best. One time, I grabbed a bunny rabbit and, well, let's just say we synergized quite nicely. As with all good things, this one had to come to an end. My friends started to notice my improvements in performance. At first, they thought it was cool. I was in control and outpacing them all. And then they started to get annoyed. At the time, I thought it was jealousy. After all, they couldn't do the kinds of things I could do. But it wasn't jealousy that caused my downfall. It was impatience. My performance improvements weren't good enough for them. They said I was taking too long wandering around the wilderness, cavorting with woodland creatures. No, it didn't matter to them that our quest times were lower overall. They just couldn't convince themselves to get their hands dirty mucking about with butterflies and blossom crickets. It was uncouth. No self-respecting monster hunter, they said, would deign to use anything but their own weapons and metal to subdue a creature. And just like that, everything went black. I woke up, who knows how many days had passed, in a bed in a small room with just a rampage bow and a dusty old set of Rachna armor beside me. The door opened. A strange man appeared, light streaming in behind him. Around his neck, a talisman glowed brightly. It was intense, unreal. I knew talismans like that didn't exist in reality. I thought I was dreaming. I spoke up. "Where did you get that talisman?" I said. "None of your business. It's got a perfectly legit set of skills on it, so don't even worry about how I got this talisman." "Here," he said in a lower tone. "Suit up with this armor. I'm going to teach you how to play this game properly." He turned and left the room, closing the door behind him. I took one look at the armor. Then I looked at the door. In 5 more seconds, I was sprinting as fast as I could out the door, across the field and into the wilderness, never looking back. Ever since that day, I've been up here, on top of the cliffs, living in an old abandoned shrine and living off the land. If I ever go back to Commer Village, it'll be in the dead of night, disguised as a fisherman. But I don't think I'll ever return from this expedition. These shrooms give me clarity and peace. Up here, I have all the time in the world, and I don't ever want it to end.